Go over to Steve Kornacki. Midterm elections 4 weeks away now. He's over at the big board. Steve, we can talk Ohio, big picture. What are you looking at today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry if you're looking for me to scream or shout or knock this thing over. We'll do it another morning, maybe. We can see if it works, and we can take you through where some of the big numbers and indicators stand here. 28 days here, 4 weeks to go until Election Day. So we always talk about the midterm election. The president's job approval rating typically has been most closely associated with the results here. And you see Biden, where he's at right now this morning, an average of a 42.9% approval rating. Let's take every recent president at this point, 28 days out from their first midterm. What were their average approval ratings? You can see where that 42.9 fits in. It's right there, a tick less than Trump, couple points under Obama, basically identical to Bill Clinton back in 1994. One exception here was George W. Bush. This about a year after 9/11, when his popularity was still stratospheric. And you see what this has translated into in terms of House seats gained and lost in midterms. Again, Biden is right in that range. Trump lost the House. Obama lost the House. Clinton lost the House in 94. Giant gains for the opposition party. Again, Bush, the only exception. So on this metric, Joe Biden is right in that extreme danger zone for a president 28 days before the midterm. What has not quite been tracking with this, however, is another indicator we keep an eye on, and that is the generic ballot. As we ask folks in a poll, who would you want to vote for Congress this year? The Democrat, the Republicans? Who would you want to control Congress? And on this issue, on this trend, I should say, the Republicans do have the edge right now. 0.9 points, 46.1 to 45.2 on average. There has been a slight shift in the Republicans' direction in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Democrats actually had a lead on this back in September, so Republicans have moved ahead, but it's only by 0.9. And what you're looking at here, 18, 14, 10, 06, these are the four most recent midterm wave elections where the opposition party made tremendous gains in the midterms. This is what the generic ballot looked like at this point in those races. And again, you can see 4 years ago at this time, you could see that Democratic wave coming. 2010, you could see the Republican wave coming. 2006, the Democratic wave. What Republicans, I think, are hoping for is that maybe 2014, it was only 2 points in the generic ballot at this point. This was Barack Obama's second midterm election. Republicans ended up taking the Senate, getting to their highest level in the House since 1928. It was kind of a late-breaking wave in 2014, and clearly I think that's what Republicans are hoping for now, because when you look at Biden's approval rating, you would expect historically to see a bigger gap here in the generic ballot. That gap really hasn't materialized yet. Again, the battleground, the big potential battleground for the Senate, you see here the party that currently holds each one of these seats. It's a 50-50 Senate. The key, obviously, is Republicans. They need a net gain from this map of 1 seat to give them control of the Senate. Let's take a look at these seats and what the polling average looks like in all of them right now. So the Democratic-held seats that are in the battleground or the potential battleground, this is key, I think. One of them, you see in Nevada here, the Republican leads in the polling. That's Adam Laxalt leading Catherine Cortez Masto, the Democratic incumbent. If that holds, if that ends up being the result here, that for Republicans would represent a net gain of 1 seat from the Democratic seats. But right now, what Democrats have to counter that is they lead in 1 Republican-held seat. That's Pennsylvania, where John Fetterman, the Democratic nominee, leads Mehmet Oz by 3.7 in the polling average. And if that held and everything else on this list held, Democrats would erase that net gain of 1 seat because they'd get 1 of their own and things would stay exactly the same. So, again, the name of the game for Republicans is they need to end up with a net gain of a seat here. Democrats have their best shot right now on paper in Pennsylvania. Republicans have their best shot in Nevada. But there's a lot of variables here. We'll see the fallout in Georgia. We've yet to see much polling since that latest Herschel Walker controversy erupted. You're just showing in Ohio there. Tim Ryan has been running very close to Vance. And the other wild card here in this is some of these states, Ohio, Wisconsin in particular, the polls since 2014, 2016, 2018, 2020, you've seen some significant misses. The polls have overstated Democratic support in Wisconsin and Ohio in particular in recent elections. That could also end up being a factor, but obviously we wouldn't know that till election night.
Well, thank you for pointing that out because it's so hard to look at the polls. I'm wondering, Steve, to look at the polls and understand, I think some of us knew they were really off in 2020 when said Joe Biden was going to win by 98 points in Wisconsin, 47 in Pennsylvania. I mean, they just So I'm just curious as we are trying to figure out who's going to actually get out there and vote. What do you look at? And I also, a month ago, everybody was saying Dobbs is going to change the outcome of this election. It's something that actually I thought would happen. It would be significant, especially after Kansas. You look at one issue poll after another issue poll, it doesn't seem to be at the top of the debate. And yet, I must say, and I'm equating nothing here, I'm just saying, as somebody that's observed politics my entire life, I've never heard, and I'm usually around Republicans or former Republicans or conservatives, I've never heard people talk more in restaurants or on a dinner table, out and about any issue since 9/11 as they have about Dobbs and the crazy legislation Republicans have been passing on the state level. It's wherever you go. I don't care what a woman's ideology is. They're bringing it up. Lifelong Republicans are bringing it. And I'm just curious.
And their husbands and their dads.
And their husbands and dads. And you go down the list. So I'm just curious, right now, what's your thought about how that's going to play into this election, how that's going to change the people that actually get out and vote this time?
Yeah, I think it did have a bit of an energizing effect on Democratic voters when that decision came down this summer. Because when I was showing you that generic ballot, we can go back to that screen, in fact, when that Dobbs decision came down, I think it was June 24th, Republicans led on the generic ballot by several points. By the end of it, you could actually just look at the trend line on this, and there was an uptick in Democratic support over the course of the summer that led the Democrats, around Labor Day into September, actually leading on the generic ballot. And I think there were probably a couple of factors that were involved there, but I do think the Dobbs decision was one of them. That said, when you look at our most recent NBC poll here and you ask folks, what is the single most important issue that's going to drive your vote in this year's midterm elections? A combined 34% cite either jobs in the economy or inflation. And you combine those two, that's the biggest single number you're going to get. And on that question, the Republicans have a nearly 30-point advantage over the Democrats. It's 8% in our most recent poll who cite abortion as the number one issue in their midterm vote. Democrats have a comparable advantage within that 8% over Democrats, but 34 versus 8. That's economy and inflation. That's where abortion is. In between, by the way, you have this question, this topic that we haven't polled in the past, but that pops up now, threats to democracy. That actually clocks in at 20%. That breaks heavily Democratic, and I think that gets to the Democrats' besides abortion, the other thing Democrats are counting on in this election is the unusual prominence of an unusually polarizing former president in a midterm after that president's left office, the Donald Trump factor. Republicans are hoping that there's a certain voter out there that maybe isn't wild about Biden, isn't wild about the Democrats, isn't nuts about how the last 2 years went, but ultimately is going to look at that Republican Party, still see Donald Trump, and not want to vote for it.